balancing personal and professional goals for a fulfilling life. Join the Bucketlist Accountant himself, David Patterson, as he talks about the critical relationship between personal goals and business success. We explore how integrating personal aspirations, like taking family holidays or supporting children's education, can drive business goals and create meaningful purpose. Through real-life experiences and discussions, he emphasizes the importance of having a clear purpose, both personally and professionally, to endure tough times and achieve long-term success. Join us as we unpack the significance of purpose-driven business strategies and how they can lead to a fulfilling and prosperous life. I'm your host, Anthony Pearl. Let's get into making your bucket list happen. David, I think one of the things we've got to talk about is personal goals and also about how it impacts your business. We've kind of touched on it in previous episodes, but I think that this is an important idea to really understand how you bring one into the other and the impact that it can have on your business. Because the bucket list idea, often people are thinking about, it's just about something that is very personal. It is just about the jumping out of a plane or the holiday, but it's about much more than that, isn't it?
100%. And this is something that I've really started to learn over the, last 3 or 4 years is that, and I'll use, so a lot of, I've been to a few, and I'm sure potentially you have as well, gone to a few business coaches over my time. And what a lot of them ask is, they get a picture of where your business is now, and they then sort of push you and say, well, where do you want to get the business to get to? And 9 times out of 10, the where do you want the business to get to is always just it's a monetary figure. If your business is at $1 million turnover, you'll say to your business coach, I want to get to a $5 million turnover. I want to have X amount of profit, blah, 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 blah. But with the business coaches that I've had over the journey, none of them ask me the question, why do you want to get $1 million turnover? Why do you want to have a profit of X amount of dollars? And when clients come in here for the first time and you get a feel for where their business is at, and you ask them, where do you want your business to get to? What do you want it to achieve? There are 2 common answers that come out of it. And one is the same thing. I want to get to $1 million turnover. I want to get to $1 million this, or I want to get, and when you ask them why they want to get to that point, they don't have a real good reason why. It's just a case of $1 million is a nice number. $10 million it's a nice number. That's, and maybe one of their mates has got to $1 million and they want to do the same thing. That's fine. The other answer that you'll get, and this is where I try to push people towards, is, someone comes in and says, I want a business that's generating $500,000 worth of profit. Why would you like to generate $500,000 profit? That's the level that I've worked out allows us to take an annual holiday with the whole family. It allows me to put my children through private school without any problems. And it allows us to put some money aside so that we can help our kids when they get older to buy a house, help them with their deposit so that they can buy a house. The people that can answer the question that way, from what I've seen over the time, are much, much more likely to end up achieving their goals and going beyond it than the ones that have no real purpose other than, I want to hit $1 million turnover.
You've hit on something that's important, isn't it? That word purpose. That's where the key is. I know it's become a term that gets thrown out a bit and people think, it's just another phase. People are talking about purpose, but it's not really. It's got a lot of meaning behind it. And people need to spend some time thinking about it and understanding it.
100%. And I think the word purpose, again, like you said, it's probably been beaten up a little bit. And probably the other one that's not so much purpose is to know your why, the Simon Sinek concept there. But the purpose, if you're running your own business, you're probably in that business or some form of small business for a large chunk of your life and spending a lot of time in there. It's got to have a meaning as to why you're doing it. I think it's got to have and purpose as well. Just doesn't mean, that you've got early days for me, when I thought of the word purpose, I was thinking more of like philanthropic and being able to give money and put back into the community and have a sort of a bigger purpose like that. But I think it's equally as important from a family perspective and a personal perspective to have a purpose of why you're doing what you're doing to achieve a personal outcome. I think that's really, really important that people understand what that is and have it out there as to what that is. Again, like a vision board, have the pictures of what you're trying to achieve up there so that when the tough times come, and tough times always come in business, there's always just around the corner, there's a cash flow. And again, COVID, that rocked businesses beyond anything anyone's seen ever, I think, in my lifetime anyway. So if you've got a clear purpose as to why you're doing things and a clear purpose of what you're trying to achieve, when you're going through those really tough times, that makes it easier to get through the tough times. I think if you have no purpose other than hitting $1 million or hitting a dollar value, when the tough times come, that's when I've seen that a business owner is more than likely to pull a pin and just get out because it becomes too difficult. But the purpose makes the difficult times more endurable, I guess, and you can get through them because you know that on the other side is a reward that's worth working towards.
Yeah, I think it's important as well because it also makes getting out of bed every day and going to work gives you a greater sense of understanding of why you do what you do and why it's important. And because we all have tough days as well as great days and plenty of days in between. But when you're aligned with some sense of purpose, it changes your perspective. Which brings me to the point of asking you about the alignment between what's important personally and what's important as a business owner or a business leader.
Well, I think they're both equally as important. And part of what's on my bucket list as an example is a business outcome. I want to be able to do certain things. I've got a retirement target of what I want to achieve, which then helps me do my personal stuff. And I've got a targeted cash flow along the way, which helps me do the things along the way. But there's also other elements that I want the business to be able to do. I want my business to be able to help our team achieve what they want to do. But I also want to be able to help from a charitable perspective as well, help do volunteer work, be able to contribute to local charities to help them out because that part of the business is important to me as well. The business has been good to me. I've got clients pay, it allows me to do what I want. So it becomes important for me that we have the ability to give back into the community. So it's, the goals of the business are as important as your personal goals, no doubt.
Yeah, and I think it's bringing that in as well. The an alignment between the two, isn't there? That has to be, they have to, they're not going to be the same, but they have to be aligned from a value perspective in order for them to work. This podcast is brought to you by bucketlistaccounting.com.au. Speak to David Patterson and his team if you want to take better control of your life and business, helping small business owners like you be successful designing the life of your dreams. Go to bucketlistaccounting.com.au or check out the show notes for more information. Now back to the program.
100% they do it. And I think that's where it's important to get your family involved, not in the business, but to get them involved in your personal goals so that it helps to align your business goals with your personal goals. Because when you become fully aware of the types of things that your family want to do, it helps you sort of line up your business and your personal side together. And when you can get to that point, I think it makes a lot of things a lot easier. That synergy that you get between the two becomes much more aligned, and it helps smooth out when you're having some rocky times too, I think, because you know that you've got that alignment there between your business and your personal goals.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the other important thing too, isn't it? That professional goals, business goals should help your business go better. They should be, it should help your business move forward because there's a sense of purpose behind it. And that's what you want your team to buy into as well.
Mm.
So the business is kicking the goals, and that obviously that then flows through to the personal goals.
Absolutely. And you're spot on. The purpose, the one thing of bringing the two together is it allows you to look at your business and make sure that it's set up in such a way that it allows you and it allows your team to be able to achieve what they want to achieve. So you know that if you want to take as a business owner, if you want to take 3 months off a year to do whatever, go on a holiday or just take 3 months off, you then know that you have to build into your business the mechanisms and the planning that allows you to do that and go away and know that that business continues to run without you. If you're just planning on a 3-month holiday every year without building into your business the ability for it to continue while you're not there, one of the two is going to fall down. Either you're not going to be able to take your holiday or your business is going to collapse. So that aspect of it becomes really, really important to align so that you can do these things, because at the end of the day, for most of us, our business is what's going to allow us to do most of the things that are on our bucket list.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I think that, and it is important as well, isn't it, that if you keep, as we talked about at the beginning, keeping a purpose aligned behind it is important, because that idea of saying, well, I'm going to take 3 months holiday every year, if that's just a thing that you've just said, well, I'm just going to do it, is there a point where you're not really enjoying it if there's no real purpose for it? If you're not actually taking time away and relaxing or visiting family or whatever it is that you might be doing, and you're just going, well, it's that time and I've said I'm going to take holiday, so I'll take a holiday, and you're just kind of not really enjoying it to the full extent because there's no purpose behind it, then it's not going to work, is it?
No, that's 100%. And that's part of what we've done is we're not just saying in our family, we're not just saying we're going to take a holiday, an overseas holiday every year. We're mapping out where we're going to go. We're mapping out what we want to do when we go there. So it becomes more real than just saying I'm going to take a holiday. This November, we're going to go to New Zealand. So next year, we're planning to trip to Japan. So there's a whole building in the actual sort of finer points of what it is you're doing makes it real, and then it gives you something to work towards. Because as you said, taking 3 months off for a holiday doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah, it all gets back down to purpose, doesn't it? That's
100% it does.
And so tell me from your point of view as well, I mean, how often do you need to have that discussion with people? What is that discussion even like when you're having them with, particularly at a family level, and what's our purpose?
Well, it's just, and again, the first time you broach it with a client, it's kind of a strange concept for them because it's not something that they've done before. And the initial stages of that process can be a little awkward because they've never done it before. But the thing that I've found is that once you just get them into the exercise, and this is where the brain dump becomes important for them and for the family, is that it's amazing once you start, it's amazing how much stuff comes out and ends up on the piece of paper that which is why it's important to put it on the paper, because you don't know what's in there. But when you write one thing down, that triggers the thought that you've had of another thing, and it just, there's sense, and you can see it in people. They start fairly, when they do it for the first time, they start fairly rigid, and they're writing in nice, neat little lines. I want to do this. And as they start to relax and their mind sort of opens up a little bit, they're just crawling on the page. They're writing anywhere. They're just trying to get their ideas down as quick as possible. And suddenly they're putting things down that if you have spoken to them about it beforehand, they would have never put that down because that was too far out of reach, or was too weird, or was too. They're just banging it down, and it becomes really, really enjoyable because it's an emotional it triggers an emotional thing in your head that suddenly there's all these things that you want to do that you hadn't expressed before.
So a question without notice to wrap up this discussion, David. What's your purpose? What's the purpose of your business? Because here we are talking about bucket lists and we're here on a podcast. How does all of that align with what your purpose is?
Yeah, so my big purpose with my business is that I don't want people getting to the end of their life and having regrets. I want to be able to help people get to the end of their life and have done just about everything that they want to do. I think my purpose is to help to trigger people's minds that these things are doable now, not doable in the future. And I also want to help people not worry so much about what other people think, so that their goals are their goals. What the Jones is doing doesn't really matter, because as soon as you can release that, everything else kind of opens up. So that's, in a nutshell, that's the big purpose, is to help people have no regrets when they get to the end. And for me, and personally, the big thing for my wife and I is travel. So it just allows us to travel often and travel to places that we want to travel to. So, and also to help the kids with whatever they want to do as well.
I love that. And I hope people get something out of that sense of purpose, which is what's driving the podcast. And I hope, David, we also, when you're next traveling from some exotic location, we'll be recording this podcast.
I look forward to having a very well-recognisable background at some stage and coming to you from the steps of the Trevi Fountain or wherever. Absolutely.
The Bucketlist Accountant podcast is brought to you by David Patterson and his team at Bucketlist Accountant. Go and visit their website for more information, details, of course, in the show notes. I'm Anthony Pearl, your host from Podcast Done For You. We look forward to having your company in the next episode.